Is it Friday?
It is.
It is. July the 12th. You're here. We're here. Let's do a show. Here's what we're working on this morning. Speed limits are increasing today on some sections of the 400 series highways.
An event sponsored by an extremist group in Hamilton is sparking concerns.
And Bob Dylan is about to drop several hundred unreleased songs. Where have they been, Bob?
Several hundred.
It's just like, oh
Wow.
yeah, you know that box in the basement? That's what was
Boxes.
that's what was in there. Steve Ruddick. How are you,
hello.
pal?
Good morning, all.
Looking very sunny in your yellow vest and little poof thingy.
Well, no, after all this rain we've had, trying to bring the sunshine back into
Very
play
good.
here. It looks like we will to a certain degree, at least this weekend,
Okay.
but there's still a chance of showers virtually every day just because of daytime heating. That's kind of what it is. However,
Right.
we'll get to the weather coming up in a few minutes, but welcome everybody to the Friday edition here of Morning Live, just a minute or so after 6 a.m. Let's check your conditions out on the roads. And weather's not going to be a factor, at least to start the day today. We could get a thunderstorm later on, but starting out on the roads right now, down towards the Niagara area, we're seeing things moving along in pretty good shape. Not very busy at this point. Looking at Glendale, moving up into Ontario Street. The sun, of course, has been up over the horizon a little bit. If you've got some clear space up there for the last few minutes or so, through the Hamilton area, starting to build on the Hamilton side here, coming eastbound along the Burlington Skyway Bridge. Guelph line, no problems right now. Up by the Ford plant, seeing things are good. East of Mississauga Road along the 403, certainly not as busy as it was the other day when we had those torrential rains. And looking at the airport up by Pearson, looking in good shape. And we start to see the sun peeking through the clouds. So that's the good news. Maybe the vest helps a little bit today, but we'll see what happens and we'll use whatever we need to get that. We'll have more traffic and your weather shortly.
Yeah, we need like a pair of sunglasses with that vest on in the studio here there, Steve. Let's stay on the roads, actually, because Ontario is permanently increasing the speed limit on 10 sections of 400 series highways today. Simone Gavros is on this story for us this morning, live on the 403 in Brantford. Is that where you are?
Yeah, Tim, that's right. This is going to be one of the stretches of road that's going to see this increase today. So the speed limit is going to go up. So it's right now it's at 100 kilometers. It's going to go up to 110 kilometers. And you're already going to see those signs that are posted as we were driving over on the 403 this morning. Those signs are already there, and it clearly shows where the 110 kilometer begins and where the 100 ends. So this is a look at the map that's going to show a breakdown. And there's 3 stretches of roads that are going to be included, the highway. So this is going to happen on part of Highway 403 between Brantford and Hamilton, Woodstock to Brantford, and a stretch of Highway 406 from Thorold to Welland, shown here on this map. Now, Ontario's Transportation Minister made the announcement about the changes back in April, saying that the move is, quote, evidence-based and is also a common sense change. This change comes after the speed limit increase of 6 sections of highways back in 2022, including a stretch of the QEW between Hamilton and Niagara. Now, the highways were picked based on their ability to safely accommodate a higher speed limit, according to the province. Now, the province also says that the remainder of the highways speed limits are going to increase, and that's supposed to happen sometime before this year ends. But for now, I'll send things back over to you, Annette.
Okay, thanks very much, Simone. A 37-year-old Niagara Falls man is facing several charges after a drug seizure at the Port of Montreal. In February, a joint forces unit involving the OPP, RCMP, Canada Border Services, Peel and Toronto Police seized more than 130 kilograms of cannabis and cocaine hidden within shipping containers at that port. The drugs have a street value of more than $600,000. Police also have a warrant out for a 53-year-old man from Kitchener, and they say more charges are expected.
Haldeman OPP have put out another call to try and find a hit-and-run driver. Back in February, a pedestrian was hit by this SUV in Dunnville, so they're dealing with life-altering injuries. The images of the vehicle, they're grainy, but police believe it is a 2016 to 2021 white Hyundai Tucson. They say there will be damage to the front passenger side and its mirror. Auto repair shops, scrap yards, or tow truck businesses who may have seen this vehicle are asked to contact Haldeman OPP.
A 17-year-old girl's been hurt after falling off a ride at Canada's Wonderland. It happened yesterday afternoon on this ride, the Swing of the Century. It's described on Wonderland's website as a chair swing family ride, and it's one of the park's original attractions. York Regional Police say the Technical Standards and Safety Authority went to the scene and determined there was no issue with the ride. A spokesperson for Canada's Wonderland tells CHCH News an incident investigation is underway and adds the safety of our guests and associates is our top priority. A Canadian alt-right organization plans to make a stop in Hamilton. Diagolog is referred to by the U.S. Department of State's Bureau of Counterterrorism as a far-right extremist group. They're hosting an event in Hamilton as part of their terror tour on July 31st. The group was founded by a podcaster who promotes white nationalism, Jeremy McKenzie. The Hamilton Center for Civic Inclusion is asking for community members, groups, and elected officials to take action by publicly denouncing and opposing the group's appearance in Hamilton. In a post on social media, Hamilton Mayor Andrea Horwath condemns the presence of such a group in the community and says Hamilton has no place for hate. Well, a stretch of James Street North in Hamilton is going to be closed to vehicles for tonight's art crawl. The city says the street closures will start at 5 o'clock and continue until 8 o'clock. The temporary closure covers James Street North from York Boulevard to Murray Street. And tomorrow, the annual Gore Park Promenade's one-day extension will also require a temporary closure of the south leg of King Street from Houston to John from 11:30 in the morning until 6 tomorrow night. City of Brantford says it's going to be business as usual as they wait for a mayoral by-election. Brantford Mayor Kevin Davis is stepping down at the end of this month after being appointed to a provincial tribunal. The city's chief administrative officer says work under Brantford's new official plan will continue during the transition. A by-election for Davis's replacement is expected to be held in the fall. We'll talk with Kevin Davis about his decision after 8 o'clock this morning.
All right, Sportsline, we had some afternoon baseball from San Francisco yesterday as the Blue Jays, despite their struggles, were trying to win a second straight series against them Giants.
In terms of the standings and what part of the season it is, Spencer Horwitz lifts one deep right field, gone.
Yeah, Spencer Horwitz with the big swat as his fourth home run of the year would end up in McCovey's Cove, and the battle for that baseball was on. Put the Jays up 5-2 at that point. Oh, who gets it? Who gets that baseball? We actually don't even really find out. They scored 3 runs in the first inning with Danny Jansen going yard against former Jay Jordan Hicks. Kevin Gausman, he was good in the mound, only allowing 2 runs in 7 innings against his former squad. Jays won 4-5 with the 5-3 dub. Now they head to Arizona to kick off the final series before the All-Star break next week. Now, we know changes are coming for the team, and during the game, actually, it was discovered that the Jays placed outfielder Kevin Kiermaier on waivers just as he was making this amazing diving catch in center field. Gold Glover's defense is not the issue. It's his struggles at the plate as he is hitting under the 200 mark, although he did have 2 hits yesterday. So he's still going to play for the Jays. Well, we'll see if any team wants to take the remainder of his contract. But it does show the Jays will be sellers as we approach the trade deadline later this month.
Remember that one as these teams go back and forth in the second half. 17-15. And now tons of running room. Right up the middle of the field. Is anyone going to touch Janarian Grant? Back-to-back weeks into the end zone.
You know, week 6 of the CFL season kicked off in Montreal, and the Argos and Janarian Grant were not very good visitors as he would take it 103 yards for the touchdown after Alouettes touchdown right at the end of the half, and that would sour Montreal's winning streak. Not the best night for the Owls, who came in undefeated at 5-0 and won 13 straight games. They also lost their starting QB, Cody Fajardo, had to leave in the first quarter because of a hamstring issue, and Toronto took advantage of their backup, Caleb Evans, taking this one in for a pick 6. Argos QB Cameron Dukes did what he needed, getting the Double Blue a dominating 37-18 win. Argos moved to 3-2, and they come to Tim Hortons Fields a week tomorrow to face the winless Tiger Cats, who are currently on a bye. To the All England Club, where the women's final is all set, and it comes on the heels of a doozy match between French Open semifinalists Jasmine Paulini and Donna Vekic. The two played the longest women's semifinal match ever as it went the distance, and then Paulini she took it 10-8 in the tiebreak in a match that lasted 2 hours and 51 minutes on center court. So she will now face 2021 French Open winner Barbara Krejcikova. She beat the 2022 Wimbledon champ Elena Rybakina. Men's semifinals, they go down today with reigning champ Carlos Alcaraz up against Daniil Medvedev, 7-time champ Novak Djokovic into the semis against Italian Lorenzo Musetti. And finally, the governing body for Copa America has opened an investigation into the brawl that took place in the stands in Charlotte on Wednesday night between Uruguay and fans for Colombia after they lost 1-0 to Colombia in the semifinals. Liverpool's Darwin Nunez was front and center and went into the stands to defend their families. Keeping an eye on this, though, because if there are suspensions, it could affect the third-place match that Uruguay has against Canada tomorrow on the same pitch in Charlotte.
Okay, let's have a look and see what's happening traffic-wise for us. 10 minutes past 6 on your Friday. Weather not a factor on the drive to work today. That's the good news. Sun's been up for about 10, 15 minutes now. Over the horizon, if you do have some clear skies right there, let's go and check one area that's usually on the slow side, and that's the Burlington Skyway Bridge. And eastbound, which is coming towards us on the left of your screen, moving along in pretty good shape right now, although you can tell it's building up pretty well. Moving down, back down into the Niagara area, we're looking at Glendale. Traffic's very, very light at this juncture, so that's okay. Guelph Line, looking at things, looking fine. Up by the Ford plant, we're okay. West of King Road along the 403, seeing no problems. Up by the Pearson Airport area, traffic's moving along quite well. As we go up to west of 401 to the 400, we're looking in good shape, and 401 and Yonge Street, seeing no major problems out there. So that's the good news. So weather-wise for us, after several days of a fair amount of rain on most of those days, we're looking for things to dry out this weekend, aren't we? Well, we're going to get a little bit of that today and into the weekend as well. But there still is a chance, and when we look at the extended forecast coming up in a few minutes, we'll see almost virtually rain possible every day. But that's just a slight chance of that, and again, most of it's daytime heating. But we do have high pressure moving into the area right now, which will help to dry things up and clear things up for us. And this will be our story through the weekend. So the weekend in general terms, by the looks of things, looking in pretty good shape right now thanks to high pressure. We're also going to get back into warm conditions and also very humid conditions as we get a string of maybe 3 days of 29 degrees. That's kind of what we're looking at, feeling like 34, 35 with the humidity. Right now, some temperatures outside. Hamilton 18, Grimsby 19, along with Toronto. Mississauga, like Hamilton, sitting at 18 degrees as we speak. Your almanac for today, sun was up at 5:52 a.m. We'll be down tonight at 4:59 p.m. and normal temperatures this time of year, 26 degrees. And today's temperature going to be 27, so very close to that. Feeling like 35, so it's going to be on the warm side. And with that, light winds, we do have the expectation of maybe some cloud coming and maybe a chance of a shower or thunderstorm, which could linger into the evening time. And again, light winds tonight, 17 degrees. And then we look into tomorrow, Saturday, 29 degrees. Again, feeling like 34, 35. Again, with that 30% chance of some showers. So that's kind of what our story is, but we'll look at the extended forecast and check more of your traffic in a few minutes. That's it.
Thank you, Steve.
Hey, there's our friend. Hello, Emily.
Hello, hello.
Hi, I'm like all about the long range forecast because of my vacation next week. I'm like right in there with Steve.
Oh.
Okay,
Anyways,
okay.
you guys are going to have Louie next week.
All right. You got plans?
No, I don't have a microphone, so I got to go.
Okay, see ya. Good talking to you.
She plans to get a microphone.
Okay.
I do, it's here. I found it.
You're going to come back?
I don't know.
She's going to come. She's coming back. There you go.
Oh, there we are. Oh.
It was like, yeah, it was down there. Is it working?
Are we working? Okay,
Yeah,
we're good. So we've got lots coming up in Chit Chat. You guys remember the restaurant Chili's, yes?
Chili's?
Chili's.
No.
No.
Chili's? No.
Okay,
Is
well,
it in the States?
it is, yes, it's
Okay.
huge in the States. The Beastie Boys are actually suing them for using one of their songs. We're going to talk about that. And a very sweet busker moment on the streets in the United States as well. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, that's a good
Okay.
one. Okay. We'll see you in a bit.
I'll
Bring
be
your
there.
mic.
With this, yes.
coming up after the break into business news. And listen, you know what? The latest interest rate cut didn't send home buyers rushing into the real estate market. We'll tell you more about that report in business news in 2. It is 6:13 on your Friday. Hey, here's some numbers for you. Canadian dollar gained 9 basis points, now trading overseas at 74.43 cents US. Gold down almost $10, 24.12.10 an ounce. Crude oil up 88 cents, 83.50 a barrel. Out to Europe we go. Hey, happy Friday. Europe, markets are up across the board in London, Frankfurt, and Paris.
Asian markets were mixed. Tokyo's market plummeted by more than 1,000 points because of the threat of currency intervention. That spurred a lot of profit taking ahead of a long weekend in Japan. Hong Kong and Shanghai markets were up. In North American markets, the TSX gained almost 200 points. The Dow added 32 and the Nasdaq fell triple digits.
Well, good morning. Hope you're well. Let's get into some business news. And listen, there's a new report that says the Bank of Canada's quarter-point cut to its key interest rate, it did not really prompt the expected rush of demand in home buying. The latest Royal LePage House Pricing Survey reviewed market trends right across the country during the second quarter, noting that demand continues to outpace supply in the prairies in Quebec. But Toronto and Vancouver both saw slower than usual activity this spring. The national aggregate home price rose 1.9% year over year to $824,300 in the second quarter, a 1.5% increase from the first quarter.
BMW has recalled over 44,000 of their vehicles in Canada. It's because of faulty airbag inflators that could cause serious or fatal injuries if they're deployed. The recall applies to BMWs that may be equipped with a replacement Sport or M Sport steering wheel with a Takata airbag inside. Those bags may be set off after long-term exposure to high humidity and high temperature. The factors could cause the airbag to deploy with more force than normal. Those affected will be notified by mail.
Best Lighting Products is recalling high bay LED light fixtures. That's because of a fire hazard. So there are reports of 3 fires involving the recalled fixtures, but no injuries have been reported. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says plastic pins securing the LED board, it can degrade, causing the LED board to come loose and contact the lens or flammable materials. But 730,000 units were sold in Canada and the U.S., and they're all being recalled. Consumers should immediately stop using fixtures that show any sign of a loose LED board or lens discoloration and turn the circuit right off.
European Union is accepting Apple's promise to open up its mobile wallet technology to other providers over the next decade. The EU had cautioned that Apple's restriction of access to its tap-and-go technology was an abuse of its market power. The EU's executive chief and top antitrust enforcer says it's accepting the commitment that Apple offered earlier this year and will make those commitments legally binding. Apple recently became the first company to face charges under the EU's Digital Markets Act. It's legislation aimed at improving consumer choice and opening up digital markets in Europe.
Well, Apple's Vision Pro headset expected to make its Canadian debut today. The tech giant says the device will be available at all of its stores in the country and online. The headset allows wearers to enjoy immersive experiences, browse photos, participate in meetings, watch movies, play games, and more. Its most affordable model is going to retail for, get this, $5,200 and 56 gigabytes of storage in Canada. If you want 1 terabyte of storage, be prepared to shell out $5,600. Analysts are watching the Vision Pro's Canadian debut pretty closely because the device has garnered plenty of buzz in the year since it was unveiled.
TELUS has told about 150 employees at Ontario call centers to relocate, apply for another job, or agree to be laid off. The union that represents the workers says employees would have the option to relocate to Montreal, but they call this a backdoor termination. It's part of a larger reorganization announced earlier this week to employees. It requires 1,000 call center employees from across Canada to return to the office 3 days a week. Those employees had been working remotely since the pandemic.
That's a look at business news on this Friday as we get closer and closer to the Saturday night of summer. Middle of July. We'll have the forecast for the all-important weekend with Steve after this.
All right, welcome back to Morning Live. Let's check your traffic right now. So things are looking in pretty good shape as we start the day here. The sun is up, and some of you will see the sun like they do down in St. Catharines, the Skyway, and moving into Ontario Street, seeing very little traffic at this juncture. Of course, as you would expect at 6:24 on any day of work week, Skyway Bridge in Burlington eastbound is fairly busy, but moving along. Appleby Line, seeing no problems. Ford Plant, we're okay. Up by Pearson, that's always a slow spot, but looking pretty good right now. So it's a good start to the day. Let's hope it stays that way. But drive home tonight might be a little dicier. Not dicier, but we could see a little shower activity rolling in. But we do have high pressure moving in, which will help to dry things up and clear the skies of clouds over the next several days through the weekend into next week. But again, we could see some pop-up showers or thunderstorms later on today, and again virtually every day. And this is for the most part because of late day heating, because it's going to be on the warm side, and humidity will take us into the mid 35 temperatures with that humidity. So temperatures remain about 18-19 degrees right now. Looking at your Friday planner, earlier in the day outside for sure you'll be fine. Later on in the day, again, that chance of a shower or pop-up thunderstorm. Your evening commute could be under rainy skies, but it could also be under clear skies. Halton, though, you may miss everything on the drive home tonight. Your extended forecast looks like this, feeling like 35, 35, much the same as we get into the rest of the weekend, so it's going to be on the warm side of things, but again, virtually possibility of showers and thunderstorms each and every day. But again, just a slight chance of that. Let's look at things for now.
All right, thanks, Steve. So a guitar described as the most recognizable Strat in rock history going up for auction.
The 1961 Fender Stratocaster was played by Irish rock and blues star Rory Gallagher. He bought it in 1963 in Cork, Ireland for about £100. That's almost the equivalent of $200 Canadian at the time. Now it's expected to bring up to $1.3 million at auction in London in October, along with 150 other items from the Rory Gallagher collection. Gallagher died in 1995 at age 47, and the items are being offered for sale by his family.
Can I admit something? I don't know who Rory Gallagher is.
I don't know.
Oh, yay. Okay.
Yeah.
Steve, Rory Gallagher? No. Steve, 0 for 3.
Okay.
0 for 3 on the Rory Gallagher. So why would it be so expensive then?
I don't know.
What happened to that guitar?
We gotta find out.
Okay. We'll do that in the break, I guess. Friday. Yeah, nothing's bringing us down today. Sunshine to start your day. Beautiful sunshine after a couple of rainy ones. I'll see you right after the break.